I'm Elizabeth Mazza, and I'm from London, Ontario. I have a big Italian family, lots of cousins, tons of grandkids in our family, and I'm one of the oldest, so lots of little minions running around. It's great, lots of support, love my family. I was in high school when my mom was diagnosed. She went undiagnosed for quite a while. She had a seizure in the middle of the night, and we woke up to her screaming, and we had no idea what it was. She wouldn't wake up after it happened, and we were really worried. We had an ambulance come to the house, pick her up, take her to the hospital, and they didn't really know what it was. So we went home. A couple months later, she had another one in bed. And it was just a weird pattern that this was happening again. You know, it's not a nightmare, what is it? And then our nightmare kind of started. So she was taken in for some tests, long trips to the emerge. We discovered they were seizures. And so she was finally diagnosed with epilepsy about 10 years ago. So I was early high school. And she was diagnosed with generalized epilepsy, which has no cure, and seizures can only be controlled through medication. You're not eligible for epilepsy surgery. Generalized epilepsy affects no one part of the brain, so that means seizures can come from any part or lobe of the brain, and seizures are throughout. So there's not one specific part where we could treat or do surgery on to reduce the seizures. And so the only treatment option available is preventative, such as medications daily to control the breakthrough seizures. But breakthrough seizures are always a possibility with generalized epilepsy. When my mom started having seizures more frequently, the neurologist requested to revoke her license. So her license was taken away, and a lot of that burden fell on me because my brother was away for school, as well as my dad. So we worked really hard to try and be there for her, but she always felt like it was an inconvenience, and it is really, really hard to try and balance schedules, and when I'm busy with school and volunteering and work, it's really hard to throw in another person's schedule, work, volunteering, which was my mom. And so I was really frustrated that I had to act more of a taxi now. But then I took a step back and thought about how frustrated my mom must feel not being able to drive. I couldn't imagine not being able to drive. I feel like it would really affect my life, so I feel bad when I make my mom feel like an inconvenience, because she's not. She didn't want this. None of us did, so we really try not to portray it that way. One morning she was driving to my aunt's and she had a seizure at the wheel. Luckily, no one was hit or hurt, but she crashed the car into a hydro pole, and the car was totaled, but thank God my mom was okay. Again, that was a really eye-opening experience. We all requested that she didn't drive again. She hasn't driven since, and that's been hard, but we know that there's always a risk if she were to drive that she could kill herself or hurt someone else, or just something catastrophic. So we really just try to make it work. When my mom was diagnosed, I think she was very upset. I think we were all very upset. We had no idea what it implied. We had no idea what epilepsy meant for her or for us. She didn't like to talk about it. No one liked to talk about it. We didn't want to tell people. We didn't want to tell her work. We didn't want to tell too much of the family because we were nervous about being isolated or judged, or, you know, people questioning and judging that it was something scary and negative. So it kind of changed relationships with others, but not really between her and I. I took the step, I actually took a step closer to her because I felt she really needed me during that time, and I actually started thinking about a career choice related to epilepsy because of her diagnosis. So I work at the Epilepsy Support Center in London, and I work with children. Every weekend we do a children's program for children who have any type of neurological condition, and so we see a lot of children with epilepsy, but it's also exposed me to different types of disorders like cerebral palsy or autism. And my mom's diagnosis of epilepsy was truly a blessing in disguise because it's opened up so many opportunities. Not only do I work at the support center, but I also work in pediatric neurology at the hospital, and I conduct research studies related to epilepsy mostly. That is my biggest passion now because I really like to advocate for those affected by epilepsy. I think my new education of epilepsy, my new knowledge, and my passion truly makes me remarkable because I think I can touch many lives by sharing my story and resonating with people who may not have epilepsy themselves, but think about it daily, worry about it, or excel because of it. And I think that I'm remarkable because I turned my mom's diagnosis into a blessing, and I want to work with epilepsy for the rest of my life, and I want to be a part of the movement and reduce the stigma, and hopefully we're still around to see a cure for epilepsy. My name is Elizabeth Mazza, and I am remarkable.